March 26th, the Moneyline Grind, where I share data, I share my best picks, trying my best to get us, some winners. And there usually are winners when I share my picks, but it wasn't the case last night. So I got to come back tonight with three better picks. I just have to go a little bit harder to make up for that and kind of keep what we've been doing lately. Last night we went 0-2. One bet was voided, but if you look at the overall numbers, we're still doing fine, especially when you look at that like around 50 pick clip. We're looking at almost 66% there, which is, I'm not going to say this every episode, but it's kind of crazy that we've been able to put that together for such a long streak. 50 something picks. I can't see it right now because my screen has changed to my notes, but it's been a hell of a ride. And we're going to keep on trying to do our best. And it's very hard at this point of the season, as somebody mentioned on Reddit, with you don't know what lineups are going out there. You don't know what teams are going to rest guys. And guys are dropping like flies. So it's interesting to see my best has come during a tough time. Let's recap. Draymond Green over 11.5 rebounds plus assists. My analysis had factored in some Steph Curry assists, some easy baskets to Curry, and maybe a faster pace with Curry to get some more rebound opportunities as well. Curry didn't play, and Dre had 8 RA, so yuck on that one. Almost the same thing with Jalen Duren. We were hoping for a double-double there, and we needed Cade Cunningham to play to maybe pick up the pace, get some more possessions, with some more rebound opportunities. Duren did get about 7 assists, so he almost got it done, I guess. But we're working on the bounce back, and here are my 3 best picks. I'm going to start off with a guy that I just can't. Every time I bet is over, we don't get it. When I bet is under, we don't get it. But I think I got him nailed today. Pause. Siakam, Pascal Siakam, fade of the day, starting it off under 31.5 PRA minus 115. He averages 31.2 on the season, 32.4 over his last 10. And you're like, that doesn't sound like good notes there, Damian. Looks like he's kind of on a heater. But I like to call this reverse resistance. This is kind of when you're playing, like, think of resistance as like you're lifting heavy weights to prepare to throw a 1 ounce object, right? You're just going to be so much stronger. Reverse resistance in my weird analysis brain is when you're playing the weak teams and you start rolling, and then you got to meet a better team, and it just doesn't feel the same. It's not as easy and as quickly as your brain was like, oh, all we need to do is this to get these stats. Not so much the same. And I think the Lakers do come in kind of one of the better teams they faced in a while. Last 10 numbers are a little fluffy, playing 2 games versus the Hawks, who give up the most points per game to power forwards. Dallas, who hasn't been healthy at the power forward position to really even compete there. And then you have the sorry-ass Brooklyn Nets, so you don't know what you're going to get. So some weak teams in those last 10. And then when you look at what the Lakers do against power forwards, they allow the fewest rebounds and the 8th fewest assists to opposing power forwards. I like the idea that they've already played against each other once this season, and the Lakers are kind of in a rough patch right now. I think JJ's a guy that's going to try to hammer down and really, really, really look at the game tape here and just really limit the penetration and drop offs. I do think we're probably going to see a better game from the perimeter players here, the guys who are controlling the ball, because we do have some weak spots. When we sub in the Gabe Vincent's or sometimes Luka Doncic gets isolated, although he's been better than I thought he would be. So we're looking at that. I just think the game is going to be more to the Halliburtons and Mathurin's than it would be to Pascal Siakam. And he has a lot to get here. 31.5. You can bake in 18 points, but then you're going to have to get, you can bake in 20 points, but you're going to have to get like 8 rebounds and some assists there. It's going to be a tough match for him. 33 PRA versus Lakers on February 8th, but that's a game where the Pacers were down 22 points after the first quarter, so they were playing with a little bit more urgency there. And Siakam had a weird 11 free throws. He went 11 for 11 at the line, I believe. Likely will not see that again, especially the starting lineup the Lakers threw out there. They had the newly acquired DFS. They had no LeBron. Gabe Vincent started. Lakers coming off a poor performance, and I just really like JJ honing in here. We're going to be a little bit healthier. You got Vanderbilt. Roy did play last game. Vanderbilt came off the bench, but he wasn't as in tune as he is now. So I just think Siakam's going to have a rough game tonight. And then the second pick, we're going to keep it the same game, and we're going to keep it a guy who's been winning a lot of people money. That is Luka Doncic. Over 36.5 points plus assists minus 120, averaging 35.6 PA in the season, 40.1 in his last 10. 37 points plus assists in 8 of his last 10. And when he was a member of the Mavs, he dropped 49 PA. I think that was something like 35 points and like 14 assists, or 34 points and 15 assists, something crazy like that. And that was November 4th. So in the beginning of the season, I do think he's in a good groove right now, though he didn't play too well. But he still got his points. Indiana allows eighth most assists per game to point guards because they're not afraid to try to disrupt things. They'll send two guys, try to blitz the ball handler or the scorer just to keep the ball moving. But I think Luka Doncic, like, he plays at his own pace, and he's so much taller than other the guys who are guarding point guards, or even you throw some length at him. He's still, what, 6'8", something like that. And he's just one of the best passers in the game. So if they do try to go that route, I think Luka will be able to move the ball a lot. Hopefully, they're not hockey assists, which they could be since he's starting the ball so far from the rim. And hopefully, it's just like one pass to the basket. But he'll get some hockey assists, which we don't really care for. Luka Doncic over 36.5 points. He makes 30 points. 36.5 points plus assists. He makes 30 points look very easily. The line for his three-pointers is 3.5, so you're 12 there. I think we got that one because Luka's been being Luka, and the Lakers are looking to bounce back. Same way we are. And then we're going to go to my third pick, which is somehow my favorite pick. I think we bet on this guy once this season. I have to check my notes if he won or not. I don't think we did. I think we got hooked. Alex Sarr over 16.5 points, minus 120, averaging 12.7 on the season, but 17.2 in his last 10. Let's take a look, a little dive into that. 2 games in those 10 where he only had 8 points, and he only took 9 and 10 field goal attempts in those 2 games. When you take away those 2 games and just analyze the other 8, he's averaged 17.4 field goal attempts, and I love it when we're looking at more than 15 points and we're getting equal or more field goal attempts, because then we only have to shoot 50% or below, and that's without any threes or free throws. So it kind of moves the needle as far as probability a little bit better for us. Centers are pretty efficient versus Brooklyn. It looks like when you look at the numbers, Brooklyn got some length there, and they do make it tough on certain centers. Alex Sarr is a young, athletic guy, so I don't think that would be the case here. I think it's a fair matchup. But let's look at some centers that played against Brooklyn. We're looking at Missy of the Pelicans. He had 16 points on 6 of 7 shooting. Okongwu of the Hawks scored 14 on 6 of 7 shooting. And then he had another game recently with 15 points on 6 of 9 shooting. Shohan started, had 23 points on 11 of 17 shooting. Shohan did. Who's, I don't know what option he is on the Spurs. Holmgren had 19 points on 6 of 11 shooting. He's at best the third option. And then we're looking at Sengun, 13 points on 5 of 9 shooting. Only played 22 minutes. And then in the same game, Jabari Smith off the bench with 30 points, 11 of 17 from the field. Miles Turner gave him 18 points on 7 of 13 from the field. And Filipowski gave him 25 points on 8 of 16 from the field. What we're seeing now is the Wizards tanking, but they're letting Alex Sarr kind of get his way. His field goals are trending up. His field goal attempts are trending up. He's the big dog on that young team right now. Both teams are just brutally hurt. Maybe a close game between the two. Maybe Brooklyn, but I do think both teams compete. But I think at the end of the day, the Wiz are going to be just drawing up stuff for Alex Sarr and trying to put him in position to score, because that's their future. That's their top draft pick. And those are my 3 picks. I did have another pick before Alex Sarr that I scratched. I will share that with you. It was A.J. Johnson over 15.5 points plus assists. I also like the points line for Taurean Prince. But these are just ideas that I couldn't, especially after 0-2 night, I couldn't just take the risk. So I really had to try to buckle down. And I do give my best effort every night, but these are the ones where I'm like, all right, I'm going more with the data than the gut, per se. Where in a lot of my picks, it has to go through just my lifetime basketball knowledge and just being around the game for over 30 years. But that's all I got for you guys. Best of luck today. I'm tired. It's been a long week already. Let's get that money, though.